Yo, yo, Tony D in the house. I've got some of this sickness. Oh, wow. Had to do it, man. Disturbed's a great band. Sickness is a great trade paperback and single issue comic. And we're going to get into the single issues because the covers are extremely unnerving, sickly, and create an uncomfortableness. You're fixing to experience it right here in this video. It will blow your mind. You'll even find yourself getting closer to your screen to inspect the unease that is there, but some of you can't really see it. So we'll get into that. The sickness. I found this at New World Comics. It was up on a shelf amongst all the other goodies, and it just stood out. The cover stood out. It has a very sickly green color. Here's the thing, like what I'm talking about, like I couldn't really see. I could see this illustration. I was like, all right, man, it's body horror, right? And I got closer and closer and inspected, and you get lost in the line work. You get lost in the dysmorphia of the body horror, and it's just fantastic. It's the weirdest thing because you're so unnerved, but it's fantastic. And I just found myself I went through a rabbit hole. I'm about a third of the way through the book, and it is what it delivers. You're not just being hoodwinked by the cover. It's delivering the goods so far. I'll probably review it. But the artist, Jenna Cha. Never heard of this artist. So now I heard of her, and that's a big part of the channel, is learning more. And getting into this. And for the first time in the mega comic book action series, we're going to make some parallels to fine art. You know, there's 3 of them. Doing my research, I found 3 and an author that kind of, it ties in. There's more there than what you know. So this is a masterclass in horror illustration. Jenna Cha is brilliant. I say genius at blending the psychological unease that I've been talking about, with this stark, and you see it right here. It's a very stark Americana imagery. This is like 1945, and it jumps to 1955, I believe. There's a time jump where you're getting, something that is starting to happen in 1945 with this person. And in 1955, 10 years later, there's a doctor dealing with the ramifications of that and trying to figure out, well, what happened? So as far as narration and storytelling going, it's there, completely there. So I think the interior pencil is Nadler. Let me get it right, man. No, it's all Jenna Cha. All right. Story script, Jenna Cha and Lonnie Nadler. Okay, that's where Nadler comes from. Yeah, publisher Uncivilized Books, man. Love running into these publishers that it just happens, right? Like something like this comes along. So let's get into it, man. It's a lot of claustrophobic horror, and this is probably one of my favorites. It's there's a very tight composition. As you can see, it's very tight here with these faces. They're all very close. It's very tight. There's like really crisp line work there. It almost looks like you could etch it like it's a wood etching in a sense. You're really getting this, and there's also heavy use of shadowing to create a sense of this confinement that you find yourself. And this confinement, like everything else, is pulling you into this, and it has this confinement quality where you're stuck in there. It's really, you really have to experience it. I don't think you can get the true experience just watching it on video. Hit the comic shop, man. See if you can find some, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's also, yeah, like you're trapped within, these characters here. It feels like they're trapped in their own environment. It really, from what little I've read of the book so far, that really mirrors the book's themes of paranoia and illness, because there's a lot of that um, resonating throughout the book. And it takes, and you also get these washed out sepias. I'll give you some examples, like that one, this one, sickly, there's like sickly greens, and sickly reds. And I'm using the word sickly because it's, what defines, yeah, here's that washed out. This one's probably my favorite, but sepias where, and I defining the word, why I'm using the word sickly is because of the content you're looking at. That's really what defines the sickly when I say that. And as you can see, it's like a mid-century America, um, and everything is twisting into this grotesque body horror story. And there's a lot of psychological symbolism. Um, rather than relying on gore, as you've seen so far, Cha really emphasizes distorted perspectives. And like I always come back to this one, distorted perspectives, looming silhouettes. And I'll give you an example of that. Like this is a good example of that, where you have this looming reflection that this lady has there. Like everything on here seems normal, like a mom watching the kids out playing in this 1945 Americana, and really, when you look back on history, it's really a wholesome, defined time. And maybe it wasn't, but that's kind of what we look at. And things were much stricter with respect. And I mean, people know what I'm talking about. You golden age guys, silver age guys, even the bronze dudes, yeah, we know, man. We get all that. But they're like this one, the looming, where when you get closer, this one's the perfect one for this. You get closer in, you see the look on the face. Something is not right. And then for some reason, the dripping of the water creates more unease. And I don't know why. But just the unnatural, like just dripping. And that anytime you're washing dishes like that, that's going to happen. But why is it different here? It's magnificent. So, the impact of these covers, the communication is dread, ordinary life invaded by something inexplicable. It's less about shock and more about the lingering unease that I've been talking about. Like this one right here, you're kind of, you're looking in here, and then you have this guy right here peering. It's a very creepy detail. You can't see her face. She's looking, but you see in this, and here's the washed out sepia tones where you have a bird getting another bird. Not that big of a deal, but it's just the whole. Now check this out. Here's some composition for you where you have this movement right here. You go from the lady looking that way, creating, a movement for your eye, but you also have the scarf creating some movement to this guy's face looking out at you. And then it creates this, it's like an S pattern. It creates this right here where you hit the bird and you're like, oh, wow. And then it goes into this, and then you have the bird pulls you back down. So this one right here, oh, I may draw some like football, like they're doing the play. This is a perfect one in eye movement. And you could also say, well, you start up here and move. I think it's more starting up here where there's a lot of movement, but that's a classic thing, the S pattern. But it deals with fine art. And a lot of these artists come from a fine art background. It's just fantastic, man. The technique, like I said, the line work, it's sharp, yet organic, I'll give you some more examples of that. Like right here, it's very organic with the swirling of figures in here. You see the line work is very crisp and clean with these characters. So I love that contrast that this does. And this is another push-pull example where you have movement like that, and then you have, see how they're looking kind of over there a little bit, not real strongly, but there's enough there to pull you around the circle and in. That's really good composition. Totally dig it. So yeah, the line work, very sharp and organic. The textures really recall like woodcut prints. If you look up some woodcut prints, you'll see what I'm talking about. I wouldn't go that deep, but it just enhances, the sense of historical Americana gone wrong. And the Americana I'm talking about has this very, very strong flavor of 1945. Like right here, you get pulled into this. You see that the doll is like, it looks normal, right? Like a happy, okay. And even that face has some unease, like what's up with her? And there's a lot, if you look at a lot of these covers, there's a lot of looking away from you. And if you look closely at this one, you start getting in here and you see see their neck, there's something weird going on. Like you just don't know. So there's this unease, it's like, you can't quite figure it out. Is it a hallucination? Of course, more than likely. You see someone's head exploding. It's so small. I'm trying to get it, man. Giving y'all the deets, man. That's what I do. It's the niblets. Full of niblets. You have a bed outside. That's not very conventional, sort of say. Somebody with their IV. These are so great, man. I want to get them framed and just hang them on my wall, dude. I'd like to hang them up at work so people can come in there. I guarantee you, I showed someone a picture and do this exercise if you can. Don't do it on a phone where you have to lean in. Like, just show someone the cover. I guarantee you, man, they pull that right to their face and they start inspecting. And they're going to feel unnerved and they don't know why. So you have to figure out why you feel that way. So it creates a feeling. And then it creates the inspection, which reveals more. It's brilliant. And it's very surreal. Those surreal elements are really in this grounded setting, and it just makes a horror feel both fantastical and disturbingly real. Let's get into the fine art stuff, man. I did some research. Like some say there's influences with Junji Ito and Stephen King. That's the author I'm talking about. Junji Ito is a body horror. That's his thing. And these feel like it channels that. And King is the king. King is the king of psychological dread. I mean, just watch it. Welcome to Derry. Any of his books, The Shining, that stuff scared the shit out of me when I was little. Thanks, Stephen King. But my mom and dad need to thank him because you be in that room looking for help. Yeah, those twins standing in the corridor, the blood. Oh yeah, it scared the shit out of me, man. But fantastic times. It's really grotesque. The covers are really grotesque, just like that. Like see the drip? That's gross, right? But it's a little restrained. Not everyone's doing it. You have people are happy. They're celebrating. So you get this. That's what I'm talking about. This one being the perfect one. You have a kite. Kites are usually, hey, that's fun. You get more of that S pattern or Z pattern. Z pattern is also a design element where this one has a very strong Z pattern. You know what I mean? It's there. A lot of fine art stuff gets into it. So man, let's keep going into that, man. Americana turned hellish. It's right here. It's just the covers just erupt from the heart of everyday life. Like that's another good one. I totally dig this one too. The date. I'm gonna call it that. The date. So you get more the fine art influences, and I'll throw up examples that way you know what I'm talking about. But I made some notes. Francisco Goya and his black paintings have a very grotesque dread. Edvard Munch's expressionism has a very distorted anxiety to them, and I'll get some examples up of that. It's worth it. And Francis Bacon's Twisted Anatomy, um, which leans into claustrophobic horror. And you know, once again, Junji Ito's psychological body horror, and King's influence, you know, is there. And maybe I'm not saying these are things the artist knew about or leaned into, but this was an interesting topic of discussion we had about, um, does anybody have a unique idea based on all the influence out there and stuff like that? It's a thought for me. It's a thought exercise. I'm not going to get into it so bad where you end up in these debates with like a cyclical no win type situation. Of course, we're all influenced, and you see things. And here's the deal, man. Everybody knows when you're full of shit and you're lying about something. It's pretty black and white, but like innocent, uh, influence, stuff like that, it's all good, man. It's cool. But I need issue 1A. I don't have it. It's on the want list. And I'll go from there. And once I get done with reading, we're gonna get an outro with a spread of the sickness. I wish I could play that video. This is my favorite, man. I like to get things kind of ordered how I like them a little bit. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I kind of like this one a little bit better. Come on, man. Stick with me. Stick with me. Hang with your boy till the outro. Yeah, that'll be the thumbnail, but there you go. Down with the sickness.